name's Tucson Morrison. I'm from Minneapolis. And when Allie called me to be out here, I was honored and I'm happy to be here. And if some of you are nervous right now being in the street, you're more than feel free, more than welcome to go to the sidewalk. Nobody's holding you here. The reason why we take up intersections is to interrupt the status quo, to interrupt the day-to-day, to interrupt people's schedules. Because what's not going to happen to them, I mean, they might be late for something, you know, they might miss an appointment or something, but they're not going to get shot in cold blood. They're not going to lose their lives. And then they're not going to have their stories retold on the news saying, you know, it's too early to know if it's a hate crime. We don't know yet. You know, we still have to figure that out. We got to talk to him. We got to talk to this young white man who said it's not a hate crime, so I guess it's not a hate crime. Yeah. And it's funny because, and this really is a separation from white people and white supremacy. If somebody says, hey, that racist thing I did, that wasn't racist, I don't usually believe that. If somebody says, hey, that hateful thing I said wasn't hateful, I didn't mean it like that, you probably wouldn't believe that. You say, man, that really messed me up. You shot down 6 Asian women in cold blood and then had the nerve to tell them, no, it wasn't about race. And then we have police out here that do the same thing and try to retell the narrative and say, you know what, we're not racist. We're out here to protect. But if you're a black man, which there aren't many out here, we know that they're out here to predate. And for folks of color that are out here, we know that they're out here to predate upon us. And they're not here to protect. So when we address this and we interrupt the status quo, that's what we're here to do. And people can get upset as much as they want, and they can get pissed off as much as they want. But guess what? Nobody's gonna kill you. And then nobody's gonna assassinate your character after you're in the ground. Because if they can't take your body, they'll try to take your character. And if they can't take your character, they'll try to take your voice. If they can't take your voice, then they'll try to just boot you out of the school and say, you know what, no more scholarship. And so when we talk about Carson Wentz, let that man be Cam Newton.
Absolutely.
Let that be a black man. Let them try to celebrate that. Because when you look at the legacy of this country, it's hard to look away and not see it repeating itself right now. It's hard to look away and not see that an entire institution, I mean, look at these buildings. These are huge out here. I've only come out to NDSU a few times to do workshops on racism, transphobia, sexism, substance abuse, and sexual assault. But whenever I come out here, I'm like, damn, this campus is huge. It's filled with money. Who's making all this money for this campus? Who's making it? And you have to look at the work, the labor, the black bodies, and the other bodies that go into it as well. And Asia said something interesting. She said, you know, they like certain folks of color for the look, but they don't like them for the voices. And what you're out here doing today is expressing your voice. You're out here representing that. And for the white people that are here today, what you're out here doing is not becoming an ally, you're becoming an accomplice. And people will switch that word up on you a lot. So keep track of it because it changes every damn week for me. But you're out here getting an education. And the biggest thing that I take away from this campus is those white students that reenacted the murder of George Floyd. And I'm from Minneapolis, I take that personally. I don't take that with a grain of salt. I take that personally. So those white kids that did that, that doesn't happen in a vacuum. You can come over here and say it to me and say it to my face right now. I'm right here. I'm right here, bro.
Right here.
See how far that gets you? They ain't gonna come up out the car. They ain't about that life. They won't come over here.
Cowards.
But the whole point to him is that get the fuck up out the road. For me, this is the fight for my life. I've been pulled over jogging. I've been pulled over biking. I've had guns pointed at me from the cops. This is nothing new. So when I'm out here fighting for my life, and other folks are out here fighting for their life, and you're out here standing with it, that's called community. That's called unity. That's called asking folks to do better. That's not standing for what you've been given. That's saying, hey, I want better, and I believe that my community can do better. So let's do better. But getting back to what I was saying, those kids that made that video reenacting the murder of George Floyd, that did not happen in a vacuum. In therapy, when we talk about intrusive thoughts, we talk about that. Then it leads to an action. We talk about that. But imagine living in a world where you have an intrusive thought, take upon that action, and then walk away and think that you can keep going on in that world thinking, you know, I got permission to do whatever I want. That's the same thing as Derek Chauvin. That's the same thing as a lot of these cops. They believe that they can do that and walk into their house and go about business as usual. And we're standing here and saying no. And another thing that I'll wrap up on is that those kids, they learned that from somebody. They got that passed down from their parents, who got that from their grandparents, who got that from their great-grandparents, who got that from their great-great-grandparents. Somebody told them that they're exceptional and above the law. Somebody told them they don't need to respect black folks. Somebody told them they can reenact the murder of a black man and giggle about it. Have somebody reenact the same thing about somebody that you lost and have them giggle. You would not feel so great about it. You would not. And it shouldn't take empathy for you to stand up for it. I shouldn't have to sit here and say, well, you know what? What if it happened to yo mama? No. What if it happened to somebody? You should be able to stand up for that. And the folks that are here right now, you have my heart. You have my heart, because what you're doing is you're saying that the people after you, you won't stand for it. No videos like that. No language like that. No thoughts that lead to actions that lead to enablement like that. You're standing up for a better community. And if the police can hear me in the back, y'all have the option to do the same. Blue lives do not exist. It's a job, okay? And if you really wanted to protect and serve, you take off that crusty ass outfit and that badge and become a community member. The blue line is not real. Y'all can come out and y'all can march with us too, but it's got to be without the badge. I don't believe y'all are beyond condemnation. Y'all can actually do it. You can do better too. We can ask you to do better. It is what it is. And so when we're out here demanding better, what we're asking for is accountability. We're asking for accountability. And when we get to the end of this march, we want to hear from y'all. What does accountability sound like? What does community sound like? Think about that right now. What do you want? And that goes to the white folks too. You need to want better for yourselves, because if you don't, then you get Snapchat. You get the European American Student Union. What the hell is that? And that was comical. The brother pulled up with like a death threat that was something out of like Taken Rough Draft. It's like something Liam Neeson would not say. It was horrible. You want better, so let's do better. And a lot of people, if we don't get no justice, they don't get no peace. If we don't get no justice, they don't get no lanes. Whose streets?
Our streets!
Whose streets?
Our streets!
Whose streets?
Our streets!
Whose streets?
Our streets!
If we don't get no justice,
They don't get no peace!
if we don't get no justice,
They don't get no peace!
if we don't get no justice,
They don't get no peace!
if we don't get no justice,
They don't get no peace!
they lost about 10 minutes of their schedule. They'll be just fine. Come on, y'all, let's get this march moving.